Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Geeks and Degenerates. We're still on the train for Best Actor, Oscar-wise, and now we move on to Bohemian Rhapsody, starring Rami Malek. With me, as always, is John and Seb from Slurrp. How are you guys?
Doing good.
I'm doing so good. I saw the Batman a couple days ago, and I'm doing so good.
Oh,
uh, I was like everyone's supposedly a Queen fan, right? But like, I didn't listen to enough Queen to really know. I'm a music guy. I knew Rami was gonna fucking kill it, but I also knew there were a lot of problems with production, like a change of lead. I think the change in director too, right? They
yeah.
got rid of Bryan Singer. Yeah, so there were a lot of problems with this biopic, but with Hacker Man on the cast, Rami Malek as Freddie
Oh,
Mercury. I was like,
Mr. Robot. I was like, what did you say?
no, I'm talking about the meme specifically. I know it's Mr. Robot, but like
Yeah.
with Rami Malek at the helm of the lead, like I can't see how it could go wrong, and it was properly hyped. Like I knew it was coming, and of course, like by the end of it, like there was a lot of hype. There was a lot of love for this movie and a lot of love for Freddie after it came out. So it definitely did its job, and I actually think that there was a lot of love from all the actors and the directors on this movie, and also the fact that like Sila Brian May were like heavily involved with the production and how they wanted the story to be told. I love that because whether or not this is like super factual, like we're watching Freddy through the eyes of the people that cared about him the most, and
Yeah.
I love that. So I was optimistic about the movie and completely blown away by how it was acted. But that's me answering your first question. So
Um. Yeah, I saw the trailers of this thing when it like was what was it 2018?
Mhm.
Yeah. And the last thing I saw Rami Malek in, because I don't watch a lot of Rami Malek. I wasn't a big fan of his until this movie. Was Need for Speed, and I was like, that guy,
wow, that is a terrible time to encounter
right?
Rami Malek.
Right? Because I was like, oh shit. Okay, I'm gonna try out Need for Speed because I grew up with that shit. And
Did
I'm
you
like,
not watch Night at the Museum?
I didn't recognize him as the Pharaoh.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't watch Night of the Museum. Like, I wasn't really paying attention to that movie
Okay.
all that much. But like, yeah. So I was like, really, that guy? Okay, fine. And with like everybody, I was like, I'll give it a try. I'm gonna give this a try. I did not give it a try. I didn't watch it in cinema, sadly. I watched it once, like maybe a couple years later, 2 years later, and I regret everything. Like a lot of things. I regret not watching this in the theater with fucking amazing, fucking speakers, and yeah, fuck, this movie was fucking good.
Mhm.
But not to spoil any of our verdicts, but
Yeah. Like I saw the lead. I'm like, I remembered him from the Pacific. I'm like, that guy. All right, why not?
what? He was in the Pacific.
Yeah,
Damn, I forgot everything.
yeah. And then I saw who was helming it. I'm like, oh, Bryan Singer. And then I didn't realize that he was replaced by Rocketman director until like later on. And then I was like, oh well, let's see how this pans out. And it was just a really good time in the cinema. I'm like, I really like Queen. Not a super fan of Queen. I don't know everything about them, but like I love their music.
Oh yeah, like majority of it was like, find me somebody to love. I forgot the name of the title. I'm horrible with
Somebody to love.
somebody to love. Yeah, and Hammer to Fall, and yeah, of course, Bohemian Rhapsody. We pretty much all heard it.
Yeah.
We've pretty much done it on every karaoke session.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we have, and we have video.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, if you want to see a video, here you go. I'm kidding. If you guys want it.
Wait, I was like, oh shit, you got it.
Mama. Ooh.
Well, this movie tells the beginnings and then the rise and fall and rise again of Queen, with Freddie Mercury handling baggage at the airport at first and then meeting the rest of his bandmates. I'm not sure if it was that easy, but sure, I'll go with the movie for now.
Handling baggage at the airport and handling baggage as a famous person. Yeah.
Which, why not?
What kind of baggage are you talking about? Emotional baggage?
Emotional baggage and him trying to hide that he was gay.
Yeah. And his heritage, because he is
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
parents who are Pakistani.
What?
Yeah.
I remember they didn't. Okay.
He was there. His parents were definitely there.
Yeah. Because he was born in Tanzania as Farouk, as his mom says. But yeah, you see them doing some gigs, and I believe for the first gig where he meets his wife, that didn't happen that way, but for movie sakes, why not? Why not?
Yeah, I'm for sure there are a lot of scenes here that didn't happen in real life where there's some moments of realization and them in the rain. I'm like, oh, but for sure that wasn't there.
Yeah. And then they meet John Reed, and they meet Mike Myers, who is some big guy. I forgot what labels he's from, but like he's selling Jimi Hendrix and all those other big names.
Question though, like, not a question. Sorry, going on a tangent here. Like him just, whipping out the whole, hey, here's the song. Maybe you guys can sing it. I could just be your writer. And they're like, oh, sorry, we lost our lead singer. Also, just saying, the lead singer from like before Queen, well, was it Smile? That dude was a really good singer. I'm gonna lie. Like, really? Is this how it really went in real life? Like, he was like, "How about me?" Oh, yeah,
Honestly, possible.
Honest, possible.
It's
And
very like a lot of things were, cause like I've read so many documentaries about bands from this era. Like, Queen was formed probably around the time Black Sabbath were already a thing, and around the time the Led Zeppelin probably broke up already.
yeah, I think
/ lost bottom. And a lot of these things really happen seemingly by accident. Like you hear Ozzy Osbourne and you're like, this guy doesn't sound like a singer, but man is never off key.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take note, Ozzy's never written any of the songs. Geezer Butler wrote all the lyrics to Black Sabbath songs, with Tony Iommi writing most of the riffs. But Ozzy's just a singer. Like, that's all he did. But he had such a good vibe about him that it worked. And it's not super unlikely for them that, like, Freddie's like, I want to join your band. And they're like, no. And then he sings. Honestly, that's how a lot of this shit starts out. Like,
he's just grabbing it by the nuts and just like, you know what, just
a
sing in
lot
front
of it,
a lot of people.
a lot of it is circumstance. A lot of how things that become really, really big sometimes happen by circumstance. Sweet Child of Mine was written as a joke. Slash was drunk and high off his mind, and he was like, hey, Axel, listen to this. And then Axel's like, do that shit again. But let's record it. And then it became Sweet Child of Mine. So, Queen forming this way almost completely by accident, very likely.
Okay.
Especially during this time.
And they doubt him first because he has such an overbite. Like, I don't think he can sing. Mate, so
Oh yeah, but I love that comeback though. Like, he has 2 extra incisors. More space in his mouth means more range. I'm like, you're a dentist. You should never. I don't know.
It's true though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
And
like,
No,
seeing him
interesting,
going through his like first gig, and him being very eccentric and just like going out there and just dancing on stage.
Just pops up the
Nobody
mic.
nobody fucking does that.
Yeah.
And that shit was cool. Okay, sure, a little bit cringy at first, where he was like, "Fuck, oh shit, the mic." Yeah, I was like, "Oh no, what if I was in that position?" And he just tears it off. I'm like, okay, carry on. And then he kills it. And even though he did get like the lyrics wrong, dude, fucking killed it.
Wrong words, Freddie. I'll just.
No, he's like, wrong lyrics, wrong lyrics.
But yeah, thanks to John Reed and Mike Myers, they are able to tour around America and all across the world. I forgot the guy's name.
Specifically Mike Myers.
This is the exact point of the movie where they're like, "Oh, you're famous in the music industry," but to somebody who's outside of it, they're not gonna know who you are, but they're gonna know Queen. So,
I do like the Wayne's World joke he does a bit later into the movie. I'm like, oh, I see what you did there.
I didn't see it. I didn't refer. Okay, you want?
Oof.
We'll just get it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's when he comes back and tells Susie, look how they sung back at us our song, and they're singing about you because I have a secret, or I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know how I feel about our relationship anymore.
What?
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 No, I didn't get it either. Wait, what'd you say?
Because right, he's saying, look how these people are singing back at us, and she's listening to the lyrics, and he's like, they're saying, them saying the words is how I feel about you, our love life. Because he's gay, and he doesn't know how to say it to her.
Oh, okay. You kind of lost me there because you kind of jumped ahead. You're talking about when they did their show in Rio,
Yeah.
and he was about to sing "Love of My Life," and then without him even singing it, everybody started just doing it for him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So you're trying to. Okay, got it. And it's like not him saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just having the TV do it for him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see it. Yeah, man, you jumped ahead.
Yeah, I was like, did you want to go step by step? I can go step by step.
No, because he went from the Wayne's World joke all the way into this. When you said that, I was like, is that the Wayne's World joke?
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
right?
That
I was
doesn't
like-
sound like a joke.
Chotto mate. And the way
I
the whole
didn't-
joke shouldn't be that deep.
No, sorry. I said we'll get to it when we get to it, but yeah, much later on in the video. But yeah, there's all bad for Freddie because she's like, your life is gonna be very difficult from now on, and just leaves him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a hard scene to watch because, you know, for somebody who's been in a relationship and you're kind of like, this entire relationship of like, oh, they broke up because he has a different sexuality, but he still wants to be close to her because he's very, you know, close because they got married. And she's always at arm's length, like, you know, they were neighbors at one point. And then when she got somebody else, Freddie was like, how dare you? Well, like, of course, you slept with multiple, like, hundreds of guys. But still, to you, it feels unfair, and it's a complete bullshit feeling, in my opinion, but
I agree.
yeah. And, like, I don't know, I felt it. I really felt it. Like, because I have had that feeling before, where, like, I courted this girl for so long, and then now we have separated, and then now she's found somebody else. I'm like, how dare you? Wait. Right. We're done. My bad. Yeah.
NB.
Yeah.
NB.
So that like that narrative of like him and what's her name again? Sorry.
Lucy.
Mary.
Sorry, Mary. Yeah, Lucy's the actress's name.
Thank you. Like seeing that dynamic between her and Freddie kind of hit home for me. I was like, I feel it. Minus the men.
All right. But yeah,
Drummer's way of going like, no homo.
No.
right. But then jumping ahead a bit, we get to the scene where they're like, we're gonna make a revolutionary new song that's like opera and like a Greek tragedy. We're like, I think I know what song they're hinting at. And like they said, it's formed to make Bohemian Rhapsody the title of the movie.
Oh, yeah. I also love that scene with what's his name again? Jim Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And he just changes his name to Miami. I'm like, that's sick. And then he just rolls with it as he's like going against the actual music producer. I was like, it was a sick scene. Not gonna lie. And I love that actor. Not so much in Bird Box, but like I like him here.
Alright, he was there. Okay.
Yeah, he was the guy who was like going like this.
Oh, he's that guy. Yeah.
He was the guy who was like opening the like ladies' eyes.
Yeah, he was in one Mission Impossible movie. I remember him from. Probably the fifth one. Anyway. But yeah, I do love the whole sequence of them trying to get Bohemian Rhapsody right. And then them being like, how many Galileos do you want, Freddie? How much right do you want this? How perfect do you want this to be?
No, but like, think about this, guys. In the age before digital production, this is film. They're recording this music on film, so every layer of Bohemian Rhapsody was not digitally altered, digitally enhanced. these guys were recording every single layer of vocalization in real time. All of these guitar solos, all of these drum parts, all of these bass lines recorded on tape. So they had to keep going and going as long as they could because it wasn't as easy to cut this fucking music. So can you imagine the fucking production techniques and the fucking minds they had as musicians to, one, be able to kind of do this on a budget, and two, have it be as good as it is. Because, like, knowing that every single Galileo was done by, like, Roger Taylor.
Roger.
Not Brian May.
Brian May's a guitarist.
Right.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, Roger is the one that can actually sing almost at Freddie's level. But, like, I think they all did a little bit of it. But to know that that was them, and, you know, they didn't, like, rent out the choir like Muse did.
Yeah.
But, like, to know how great these guys were without the money it would have required for someone else to do it. It's just crazy. These guys are absolute musical geniuses, and they did it at a time where this was way harder to do with less money. It's crazy.
Yeah, and just, again, seeing that scene of, like, Freddie, like, just saying, no, do it again, of the Galileo part. the only,
Completely real.
yeah, the only breath
Say the
of
least.
fresh air there was him saying, I loved it. I loved it, Dalek. And then close mic, I'm like, oh, thank God.
That is the story of the life of someone recording a song. I have lived this. It's a great feeling, but God, is it tedious sometimes.
Yeah. And then once they're done, they give it to Mike Myers, and he's like, "What the fuck is this? Are you sure you don't want the car
Again,
song?"
like, very corporate
Yeah.
kind of, like, character here, and, like, him saying, like, nobody's gonna want 6 minutes. Nobody's gonna want this or that.
That's completely true in commonplace. Because at the time, radio would play, I think, a maximum of 3 minutes. Like, they would like you to bring whatever song it is, 2:45 or something, because it would be the easiest for radio to play.
Yeah.
There was only, I think, one other band at the time that decided to have the balls to do, like, either play this on the radio, or you're not playing any fucking song on the radio because this is our first fucking single from it. And that's Zeppelin 4, which is the song that contained Stairway to Heaven. They refused to cut down Stairway to Heaven. And now you know Stairway to Heaven's a fucking classic. But at the time, this was regarded as the dumbest fucking idea. And Bohemian Rhapsody was the next.
Yeah.
And I think Stairway was actually longer than Bohemian. I think Stairway goes up to 9. But, like, a 7-minute song for mainstream radio is insane. Like, that's the equivalent of saying, let's release the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League for cinema. That's the song version of it. 4 hours of movie and 7 hours of song. Same thing. It's super unheard of. And for them to have the balls to not just refuse outright for the record company to use Bohemian Rhapsody as the single or not have it cut down, and for them to actually leave the record company just so that they could do things the way they want, mega balls.
Yeah.
Mega balls.
And throw a brick at the producer as well. I'm like, I don't know if that was real.
I don't know if that's true, but that's not out of the question.
Yeah.
I've seen crazier shit.
I do love the word twat.
Yeah. And then I love the transition of them singing the song, and then you see the critics like, "What the fuck is
Oh
this?"
yeah, it's just like comment section out of the woodworks.
Yeah.
Like, oh, just a Led Zeppelin ripoff, or like, oh, it tried to be outrageous, but it became like ambiguous. And like I read those comments, I was like, and then it just cuts to him in a huge ass stage. Like those things didn't matter,
Yeah.
which was a beautiful cut in my opinion.
The 70s, the 60s, all the way to the early 80s were a time where what was popular was not what critics liked. Led Zeppelin's Zeppelin 4 got a 1-paragraph review. This is the song with Black Dog, this is the song with Stairway to Heaven. The,
Love Black
the album with Black Dog and Stairway to Heaven. Two
Oh.
very iconic rock songs. And they gave it a 1-paragraph review basically saying it was like self-indulgent garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And classics all around with Queen. Like, Queen was one of the only bands in history to have every band member write a #1 single.
Yeah.
And these guys were shit on for Bohemian fucking Rhapsody. That's like saying that like My Chem in our time was shit on for Black Parade. Like, but the thing is, droves of fucking people went to watch them. And I mean like EDSA Revolution numbers on the reg coming
My
to
mom-
watch
Like,
Queen.
my mom and dad were talking about it. Like even they watched Live Aid when it came out.
Live Aid was crazy. Like, we'll talk about Live Aid later, but like, I feel like we should talk about it later. But like, Live Aid was crazy because Live Aid was not just Queen reuniting. A shit ton of people reunited for that. Zeppelin reunited. I think Sabbath might have reunited, but a shit ton of bands reunited for this one concert. Queen's was the most notable because it was a perfect set.
And the scene with Mike Myers being like, "What the hell is this?" Is the Wayne's World joke. I was like, teens are never gonna headbang in a car to this song. Like,
That's the joke.
There it
That's
is.
the joke.
By this time, you see the famous really getting into Freddie's head, and we also meet Jim, his future lover, and Paul, who is the overall main bad guy.
Antagonist.
Yeah,
The very toxic boyfriend.
yeah.
Dude, do you know, did you see the Adam Lambert cameo?
Huh?
He makes a cameo in the movie. He's in the movie.
Fuck, I didn't see that.
Was he in the party?
He was like, I think at the backstage. Like, he passed by Freddie.
Oh, shit.
He was in the movie!
God
I
damn.
didn't see it. I didn't see it. Damn.
Alright.
He was in the movie. He's looking very Adam Lambert.
Yeah.
Like,
And for those who don't know, he's
Man looks like he's. Yeah.
Adam Lambert is the current lead singer of Queen. If
Yes.
you grew up around the time American Idol was still relevant, Adam Lambert was like the second runner-up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, but I like how he meets Jim, because Jim's about to kick the shit out of him for smacking his ass. Like, I don't. Freddie.
Oh, I like that scene.
Yeah.
Like, not the touching, but I mean, like him, like, yo, I get it, you're a rock star, but like, touch me again, I will. What did he say?
Thump you.
Thump you.
Hmm.
We will thump you. But like, I don't know. It was actually a really sweet moment, and also I love that little bit of dialogue where like, do you want a beer? And I was like, I would like a beer. Great. Would you tell me where we keep them? I'm like, he's that much of a star. He doesn't even know where his food are.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I like this.
And then.
I'm-
Oh, sorry. What did you say, Vincent?
When he comes out to Mary, right? He comes out to Mary and he says, I think I'm bisexual. Then Mary says, Freddie, you're gay.
Gay.
And I'm just like, you know what? That is, it's an interesting thing. I don't know if Freddie actually really laid claim to bisexuality because he never came out in his lifetime, or for the most part didn't come out in his lifetime, right? He wasn't an Elton John situation.
No.
And I don't know, there's a little bit of I like the little nod to the fact that people for a long time actually disregarded bisexuality as a reality. And it's nice that it's been around forever, you know?
Yep.
Like, you can't, like, a lot of people refuse to accept the idea of bisexuality, having an easier time accepting the idea of homosexuality. And that you can't be attracted to both. You'll only actually want one or the other, which is, it's nice to get that little piece of representation, you know?
Well, it is kind of hard to see the realistic depiction of like being a bisexual or gay person back in the day. Like even seeing the scene where his father's looking at the newspaper of him with a couple of guys around him and him folding the paper and just tucking it away. And I'm like, and a little bit of disappointment in his face. I'm like, damn.
Well, he is a Pakistani man.
Yeah. That's what
You know,
I'm saying.
it's very like lack of acceptance for anyone who isn't straight.
Yeah.
Is something for a lot of families, especially people of non-white descent, to accept. You know,
Yeah.
like not stereotyping here, but it's our reality. It's true. Like it's harder. It's harder for immigrant parents, especially, to accept that like their children are anything other than the norm. But you know, at the end of the day, like Freddie has more money than anyone can ever argue with, so it's hard to like take control of that.
That's true.
Yeah. And I like how every time there's tension within the band, like they're about to come to blows, someone accidentally or purposely creates a song. Like, oh, that's where it comes from. I think.
With what's his name? The bassist, the kid from Jurassic
John
Park.
Deacon.
Yeah.
John Deacon.
John Deacon.
Yeah, and when he starts playing dun 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 dun, and I'm like, okay, a little credit to us bassists,
Yeah.
to Ace it.
Like, I guess that happens that way. I'll take the movie's word again for it.
No, it completely happens a lot of the time this way. I'll credit a moment that happened in Metallica, because for some reason Metallica decided to like document the recording of Black Album. There was one point where like Lars wanted James to sing a part while he was playing the guitar part, and James was like, "You want to hear vocals with the guitar? Then go sing it." Like, arguments like this happen in bands so fucking often. It's mind-blowing. When I was working with my band back then, we didn't have arguments to this level, but like, I know the egos. Like, I know the egos that go in, especially if you're a person who thinks you're carrying a lot of weight. Like, these arguments within the songwriting process are very fucking real. And sometimes they get to the point of almost coming to blows. And specifically, they talked about, if you're talking about Another One Bites the Dust, this is the 70s, disco was poppy, right? Disco was the most kitsch of all the fucking genres at the time. And for someone in the band, I think it was Freddie who wanted a disco song, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. For Freddie to want a disco song from them, who's like a classically rooted rock band at this point, I get the anger. I get where the anger's coming from, because now it feels like you're selling out.
Yeah.
And for people who like to liken themselves as a rock band, and everyone else there is straight, you know, so them knowing that Freddie is, for lack of a better term, fruity, like they might think that like Freddie's trying to gay up the band.
Yeah.
And these tendencies come through. Like, there's the reality of like straight people being around gay people at a time where it's not really that normal for people to be around people like this, or at least for straight people to not be around people like this. Like, there were a lot of like apprehensions on these straight males' ideas on doing a disco song, and then you heard a pretty fucking hard, heavy bass line coming from John, and you're just like, hold the phone, And they came out with arguably the most badass disco song to date. There aren't a lot of badass disco songs, but Another One Bites the Dust is easily one of the most badass disco songs to ever exist.
Yeah. And like, as it's playing, and you see a montage of Paul taking Freddie to the clubs, and I think this is how he gets AIDS, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah.
They weren't really clear on when.
I mean, Freddie was always very, 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 very sexually overindulgent. And this is the case with a lot of fucking rock stars. Like, NWA aren't rock stars per se, but they live the rock star lifestyle. Eazy-E died of AIDS. And we don't really know where he got it. I actually don't specifically... They don't necessarily portray in the movie when he got it, but they are showing the slow decline of his health. And, one of the production issues that they had having to change leads from Sacha Baron Cohen to Rami Malek was because Sacha Baron Cohen wanted to explore this part of Freddie. It's not the most flattering side of Freddie, but Freddie was extremely sexually overindulgent. And at a time where, like, safe sex was not really something that people put a lot of funding and technology into, Freddie definitely got it from the multiple orgies that I'm sure he had. Like, it could have been from anywhere, but he had so much of it that you couldn't be sure where.
Yeah, you can't really pinpoint the exact moment where you got it, but you just know the general gist.
Yeah.
Probably in the crowd of...
Yeah.
In the orgy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we move forward, the other sequence I really love is when Freddie's late again and Brian's like, fuck it, I'll make my own song too. And he starts...
Oh, yeah. And then they started doing Rock You, and I was
We
like...
Will Rock You, yeah.
Not gonna lie, that shit, the build up to that where they're just stomp, stomp, clap, stomp, stomp, clap. And I was like, yeah, okay.
I got hyped listening to it. I'm like, here it comes.
I love how they kind of called it a crowd participation song. Because it's true.
Yeah. And like, you gotta love how majority of it is just stomp, stomp, clap with a little bit of drums. And not much of the bass and the guitar. That's only at the end.
There is no bass in guitar.
Oh,
it is just a guitar solo at the end with boom boom pa the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick. Nobody fucking did that back in the day.
Yeah.
Which just goes to tell you how sound production was so creative back then. The less technology they had, the more innovative they had to be, and Queen were the queens of that. Like, they weren't the first ones to explore this. Like Zeppelin, if you ever hear When the Levee Breaks by Led Zeppelin, that was recorded by putting the mics, like they were recording at a high ceiling house. They put the mics they clipped it to the side of the stair railings so that the sound would travel from here all the way up there. And because the speed of sound is slower than the speed of light, you could hear the sound traveling and reverberating through the ceilings and the walls.
That's fucking sick.
Like, most people would just reverb that shit. They actually had to distance the mics.
They had manual reverb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dude, Queen were really innovative because they had minimal technology already, so they used certain things, but they didn't have a ton. Like, to this day, Brian May does not have any effects. Did you know this? He doesn't have a pedal board. He's only running his fucking Marshalls into his guitar with the distortion from the amp. He doesn't have any effects.
That's fucking crazy, okay.
Yeah, the only thing about Brian May's gear that's special is that he uses a discontinued British pound as a pick. He files it down so that he can use it as a pick. But he doesn't use guitar picks. He just buys those off the internet and just files them down. That's his pick.
Does that make a specific sound?
Yes, because metal does not resonate as well with the guitar than plastic or, like, let's say felt.
Okay.
Or nylon. Like, if you try to pick with a coin, especially one that's not filed down, it's gonna sound like shit. That's why he probably filed down the ends. But still, this is very difficult. Like, that's why if you look at Brian May's guitars, there are dents on the pickups. And that's because he's using a fucking metal coin to pick his guitars. I know I'm talking a lot of music here, but, like, you guys gotta understand, like, they didn't just respect these guys on the level of, this is a Freddie Mercury story, this is a Queen story. Because if you look at the way they acted, and if you look at the way Queen performs, each and every one of those actors nailed every single movement down. That's how Brian May looks like on stage. That's how John Deacon looks like on stage. That is how Roger Taylor looks like on stage. Like, if they weren't singing the parts, it looked like they did. Like, watch any Queen performance, then, like, run it side to side with any performance from Bohemian Rhapsody. You would not know the difference. Not even slightly. Every single tiny movement was exactly like the ones who actually portrayed them. and it makes you wonder whether, like, you know, the guys from Bohemian actually learned how to play these parts, because even the miming, if it is miming, looks like the real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Did you see
I think I was-
the behind the scenes
Yeah.
video of like they're doing the Live Aid scene and then they pan to the actors and then they pan to Brian and I think Roger and they're just like jamming out to them too. I'm like, oh, that's.
were they the one on the scaffolding?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, is that Brian May? It can't just be an old guy. Why would they point the camera to two old guys? I was like, that has to be the old band members. I couldn't really see it.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a good look on them.
But
Speaking of...
sorry,
Yeah.
I was trying to speed along the
No, go
narrative.
ahead, go ahead.
You see how much of a villain Paul is in the movie because he's like to John like, hey, there's a solo deal for Freddie. Can you offer it to him? And then when they're in the car, he's like, I heard there's a solo deal. And Freddie's like, what? What do you mean? And he's like, Paul back me up. And he's like,
Paul, explain. I don't know what you're talking about.
oh, you son of a
What?
bitch."
I'm sorry.
There's
sorry?
when Paul betrays
Ah.
John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Littlefinger just gets, fired.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was like, I kind of feel bad because that guy was just trying to be a business dude.
yeah.
He wasn't really trying to break the band apart. If he heard no from more sober Freddie Mercury, I think he would be like, okay, we don't need to do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But nah, Paul had to gaslight that shit too. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
and then it's because of Paul that he ultimately leaves Queen, and then he ignores calls for Live Aid. Like, hey, is Freddie available? Like, no, he's busy. And then Freddie's like, who was that? I don't know.
Oh yeah, even with his like ex-wife and Mary, where she's just worried about him, and he's like, can I talk to Freddie? And I'm like, he's busy. Like, yeah, I'm like, oh, this is a very abusive relationship that
Yeah.
they have. And they even clarified like, oh, they're boyfriend and boyfriend. They're just
This is a lot. Like, this
Yeah.
is a lot of what happened in the music industry at the time. I forgot that, like, the manager of Beatles was incredibly hostile as well. Like, there were a lot of managers that did a lot to fuck over a lot of the other band members because of their bias towards one. I know the one from the Beatles is incredibly biased towards John and was actually in love with him. But there were a lot of reasons why the Beatles fell apart, and I'm just pointing out that most of the managers of this time were really bad. Like, Ozzy and Black Sabbath were incredibly screwed off by the record company. Ozzy was almost broke until Sharon Osbourne actually, like the woman who would eventually be Sharon Osbourne, ended up managing him. But God, it was so bad. That, like, this point of the industry was incredibly bad. Like, they would hop you up on drugs. They would make you perform endless numbers of nights. Like, one time, like, Ozzy was so tired he couldn't find his hotel room.
Damn.
And ended up sleeping from so long from exhaustion that when he got up, he was late for his concert. Like,
Wow.
it was really bad, and like, he's not few and far between. Like, the guy who managed NWA was very similar.
Yeah.
Like, that's why Cube ended up writing No Vaseline. Like, it's so common, even like in modern times, because that was the 90s. It was so normal for this shit to happen. But the difference between like Freddie and, let's say, hell, I could go to Nick Jonas. Like, Freddie had issues with all the arguing and the clashing, but he respected his band members, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't just do this because he thought, I'm just so much better than this. Not like like he hesitantly said that, but like,
Yeah.
in interviews, people would talk about, talk to him as if, like, how does it feel like to be the leader of Queen? And he's like, I'm not the leader, honey. I'm just the lead singer
Yeah.
of Queen. Not often will you actually hear, a lead vocalist say that. And for a vocalist to regard his band members like equals is not very common. And that's really beautiful, especially coming from someone who's not a lead vocalist. Having that kind of respect from your singer is great. I know I didn't get that.
And then that's why it's so satisfactory when he parts ways with Paul. Like, oh, fucking finally. Because Mary knocks a lot of sense into him.
And I love that dialogue he has with John, where he was like, uh, on was this on what pretense? Why did you fire him? Villainy. And I'm like, all right.
All right.
Again, okay, going back to like Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury, there are a lot of scenes where, yeah, Freddie Mercury was an asshole. He's always late and he would argue.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so charismatic to the point I'm like, I can't get mad at you. like a lot of the times I was like that. I was like, this scene was funny, or it was just like the performance of Rami Malek like swooned me over. I'm like, it ain't that bad.
I like the scene where John's like, Freddie, can you leave the room? And then Roger's like, why did you tell him to do that? I just felt like it.
I just felt like they finally got like the drama queen to like calm down.
Yeah.
And like, I respect your decision. I will leave the room.
And then Beach is like, it's okay, we have time. Then Freddie's like, what if you don't have time? And you're like, oh.
That's
shit.
what hit me. But
Yeah.
also, Beach, sick manager, cool guy.
Yeah.
Remember much of Beach? Like, what did he do exactly?
He seemed more flexible with the band. He didn't really stand out as much, but he was very flexible with the band. Like he didn't say, "No, you can't do this. We got to stick to the formula, or you got to do this." No, you're like
So he's the producer.
kinda ish
Yeah.
manager. He was a new manager. Like after they announced that Paul wasn't even part of it.
Yeah, because during another one by Status, he's like, I'll do it. I'll be your manager. Why not?
Yeah. After they said no to what's his name, Mike Myers.
Yeah. And then like, you find out that Freddie has AIDS and he has to break the news to the band, and the theater just got a lot of people, emotional, and including myself. It's like, goddamn, the performances are pretty good.
What sucks is that like that scene where he goes to the hospital and gets himself checked and gets the bad news, and then he runs into that patient who's actually a Queen fan but also has AIDS.
Ayo.
Heyo. He just turns back and just does the exact same. I was like, he's human. He's also human.
I mean, the most heartbreaking thing about all of this, I mean, a shit ton of people died from AIDS.
Mhm.
Like the AIDS pandemic actually pulled through like close to the late 80s and early 90s. Like, there's a part of me that thinks, could Freddie have survived? Like, a lot of people died from this. Like, Magic Johnson's still alive though.
Yeah.
Like, damn. Like, what could have happened? Because Freddie didn't give a shit. Like, you saw him getting like unhealthier and unhealthier. But it makes you wonder, could he have lasted a little bit longer? Like, could he have made it? Could he have, like...
If he didn't have Paul, as long as he did.
I mean, it's not just Paul. Because I believe his sexual overindulgence would have happened regardless of Paul.
Oh, no.
Like-
I'm talking about, like, when he's at his house and he's, like, just drink, coke, all the drugs, cigarettes.
I mean, he was doing that all the way till his death, that's the thing. Like, even after his diagnosis, he didn't slow down. He just continued to do whatever the hell he wanted all the way till he died. And it makes you wonder, if he took a break, if he got sober, if he healthied up a bit, could he have survived? Could he have made it? Because he was smoking and drinking till his dying day. He didn't give a shit. He was still performing. I think they still tried to tour. You know? Live Aid was done post his diagnosis. So, really makes you wonder, like, could we have kept Freddie Mercury?
Yeah.
That's the most tragic thing about this. Could we have kept Freddie Mercury? But his work stands for itself. Like, I couldn't say that there were bad Queen albums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to all of them. Hello Bird gets an Anzus end.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah.
Is that a bird?
Yeah, it's out by my window.
Enzo, record that. We can make that in song. No, kidding.
Play that again, love.
Click. Beautiful.
Alright.
I love it.
I love it.
But yeah,
I love it, darling.
Introduces Jim to his family, and his family accepts him, and his dad is proud of him. I feel like there's a bit more conflict to be had in that, but we're running out of time anyway in the movie.
Hey, look, something like this to a person who has stuck with the norm for a very long time, especially at his age, he's not gonna get over it overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, it took some years, but like
Yeah.
he accepted who he was and was proud of him at the end of it.
Yeah.
At the time, honestly, it's as good as you can get.
You're right.
Like, the thing about people who were gay,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not out to my parents, but like, I'm out everywhere else. It's been voiced out to me that if I were, they wouldn't mind. But you know, it's a conversation I feel like I don't need to have. And for a lot of people, for your parents to at least say, "Give me time," is a lot of grace for these people. It's a big paradigm shift in their own lives because they've never known making this adjustment, and for them to at least try to do so, you know, a lot of people who were gay would wish they had it that lucky.
So I will, yeah,
Freddie did.
yeah.
So.
And I will agree with one thing that Paul said was, you know how hard it is to be a gay person at that time was. My father would rather see me dead and be who I am than see me as who I am. I'm like, that sucks. That legit sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why I like, you know, like you'll see me a lot nicer during, you know, Pride Month, let's say, because just think about the number of people who can't come home for, you know, in America for Thanksgiving, or Christmas or any other important holidays, because their parents don't welcome them into their home anymore. And a lot of these people make their homes in families they choose. And, you know, sometimes it's your only choice. And for those who don't have a home, you know, I kind of try to make it a point for myself to have anyone know that if they need one, then they're welcome with, let's say, me. And it's sad that this is something that has to happen, something that a lot of people offer, because at the end of the day, like, being gay is an aspect of your personality, but it's not everything about you. And I know it's a lot of people's personalities, especially ones who have felt, you know, a certain amount of being disregarded and being hated for being gay, but like, I'm not any different from when I was before. Like, if you talk to me, I'm the same guy. And it's hard for a lot of parents to accept that with their own kid. And, you know, this is a story of that on the biggest level, that this is not a tragedy that chooses who it hurts. Because it hurt, you know, a multi-millionaire rock star like Freddie Mercury. And it can definitely hurt someone with less in life. And with less achieved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yep.
Then we get to the last 20 minutes of the movie, which is just the Live Aid concert. And if you've seen footage from Live Aid and watched this movie, like, wow, that's uncanny. That's
Shot
uncanny.
for shot. Shot
My-
for shot.
My mom said, she was like, this is exactly how I watched it back in 1985. I was like, damn.
Freddie blowing a kiss to his mother was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
He did that. He blew a kiss to his mother to the camera. That's beautiful.
And it pans to the mom and smile. I was like, damn. There are a lot of times this movie made, like, the hairs on the back of my neck stand. I was like, shit. And that one part where he's going, hey, yo. And then everybody's just following him. And then he gets to the power note. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, yeah. Fuck.
Just seeing the joy in his eyes, you're like, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the entire concert scene, and yeah, we get a little bit of Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, some people complain like, oh, they didn't really fully finish the song. It's fine.
I mean, that
Yeah.
was the set. Like,
Yeah.
that's how it went in the set.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's fine.
Right.
At least I got to hear Hammer to Fall, and I'm like, that was my favorite Queen song.
I'll be real with you. The highlight of that was definitely Radio Gaga.
That's true.
Radio Gaga. Like, I'm not that much of a fan of Radio Gaga.
Neither am
but,
I.
like, the performance of Radio Gaga in Live Aid was fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it closes out with like what happens after and Queen's legacy, and you see photos of the actual band members and them playing,
Sorry?
and you see pictures of the real life band members, and you see them perform in real life too. The early gigs, I would assume.
Yo, whoever played Brian Mays, Ace, the one cat. Like,
Yeah.
is he
No, I would.
like is he young again?
I'd say everyone.
Mm.
Literally everyone. Brian May looks like that,
Mm-hmm.
and John Deacon looks like that. Roger Taylor looks like that, or at least he did look like that. But God,
I mean, he
it's
did.
so
Like later on,
uncanny.
he got a little bit chubby.
No, everyone fucking like Lars Ulrich doesn't look the same. Like if you look at Lars from Kill 'Em all the way to Death Magnetic, it's really fucking far. Like that's a lot less hair than we initially got. What's with drummers and
And
losing
losing
their hair? They seem to lose their hair a lot. Like look at Phil Collins.
Right.
He lost his hair too. Fucker's a drummer.
I mean, I guess it comes with like, you know how One Punch Man gets his like amazing powers, but he
You're
goes
you're
bald.
just like this is what happens when you're in the rhythm section. God, please no. Fuck. Please let me keep it. I mean, Jason Newsted got to keep his hair, but fuck. Well, John Paul Jones also got to keep his hair. God, I'm crossing my fucking fingers. I am never picking up the drums. Like,
Touch a pair of drumsticks. That's when your hair starts running down.
dude, God, it might have been that. I remember. I remember trying out the drums in Cherry Studio somewhere there in the south, and I just played some drums. And ever since then, I'm like, is my hairline getting high?
I just love how Seb is pinpointing where he contracted receding hairline.
Like, is it getting? Fuck. Is
That
it
was the
because I
second
went?
day.
Is it because I went to Cherry Studios in 2014? Like,
Oh god.
But overall, this is a very feel good movie. Like I would rewatch this from time to time again. Like why not? I want to watch a Queen movie. This is the one. And as I said before, this won Rami Malek Best Actor, the Oscar.
Oh, I could see why. Like I didn't watch it at the time, but now I see why. Like holy crap.
Yeah.
tremendous acting on everyone's part. I swear to God, all of them deserve Best Acting Oscars. If Rami got one, the rest of the band should get one, because I've never seen a band look like so much like a carbon copy of themselves. Like, I feel like they just Xeroxed them, like they just fucking photocopied all the band members. It was like, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. Like, John Deacon is a boring dude to watch when he plays bass. But to get a very specific vibe of boring perfectly done is genuinely impressive. Like, it's like, oh wow, look at this vanilla bastard, but I know which vanilla bastard this is. Like, this is specifically the vanilla bastard that is John Deacon.
I
Such
love John. Yeah.
Dude, John is low-key, but this guy can play bass like it's no one's fucking business. Like,
Yep.
a lot of the bassists from this era were so good. Like, Geezer, fucking John Paul Jones, Paul McCartney, all the way to John Deacon, all tremendous bass players. But John got to display, John Deacon got to display a whole different level. Because this man was playing bass lines, songs rooted in classical, songs rooted in blues, in jazz. Like, this guy had to play several different styles, and he played them all so fucking well. And, of all of them, I think John is the most versatile. Because, like, Brian had a very specific sound. And when you're a bassist, you have a more versatile sound that works with a lot more different things. But a lot of what anchors Queen is John's bass. Even though he was, like, if he's playing, like, a million notes, it still sounds like he's keeping it all together.
Yeah.
And he knows how to do it well for any fucking song. Like, Somebody to Love has a tremendously good bass line. Radio Gaga really worked as, like, a song being done on fucking analog bass, not bass keyboard, but analog bass. I don't know if he played any other instruments, but all of these guys gave like really good backing vocals, regardless of who it was. Like anyone in this band could actually sing,
Yeah.
especially Brian.
Knowing the fact that John Deacon, oh yeah, especially Brian, but knowing the fact that John Deacon, from all of his bandmates who were wearing these extravagant outfits, he's the one with the sweater vest. And I was like, my man.
Oh, you're a sweater vest man then.
Yeah.
He was like, sweater vest represent.
Yeah, that's one way to stand out in Queen.
Yeah. Ultimately, what would you rate the movie?
Yeah. Knowing the fact that there are parts here that are not, true to its, are accurate. The actual band members still looked, and it was like, yeah, it's fine. Dramatize it a little bit, it's fine. Just do it. And they were okay with these. Not like Braveheart, which we did a review on, and I was like, where these things are very off, And like some battles weren't really. Yes, one battle was in a bridge, for fuck's sake. But anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I lost my train of thought here.
It sounds like Braveheart.
Yeah. Even though like they did deviate from the actual story, they still made it work. The movie was still fun to watch. I would gladly watch this again. And seeing Rami Malek perform, everybody, as Seb mentioned, like the guys who played Brian May and the rest, John Deacon and Roger
Taylor.
Yeah, Roger Taylor. They all did such a great job at standing out for their own role. And
yes,
I'm giving this one a 9. Alright, it's a really good biopic.
Yeah, inaccuracy aside, I just really enjoyed this movie. I thought the way they told the story was excellent. The actors all did their parts really well, and by the end, I was having a really good time. So yeah, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I also give it a 9. Like, for all the production problems that this movie had, you kind of would have never known. With all the things this movie had to go through in order to get made, it's really great. Such a great choice with Rami Malek as Freddie. And, as much of this is, as people would say it's a biopic, I would more of liken it to be a movie. Because, it's more a love letter to Freddie rather than just a telling of his life. A love letter to Freddie from his bandmates, I feel like. And more of that, presenting Freddie in the light that the people cared about him the most was, this is the story of Freddie told from the people who love him. And it just shows you how much they loved him. You could almost feel how much these guys wish he was still around. And for someone to be loved like that, so sincerely and so unconditionally, I wish everyone had that, anyone who's fortunate enough to have that, that man's living a good life. Anyone who's died with people who still love him that much to this day living and stuff, that's a life to be coveted and one to be aspired to. The historical inaccuracies aside, this wasn't about that. This was about these people showing Freddie how much they loved him. And this is us being able to watch Freddie as people who loved Freddie. I wasn't alive when Freddie was around, but his music is beautiful. And his music still works because they're anthems about overcoming struggle. They're anthems about victory. They're anthems about beauty. They're anthems about being yourself. And that is a message that I don't think will ever die. Unfortunately, Freddie did, but his work will always speak for him. And what we have of Freddie, we can hold for the rest of our lives and the lives of any generation that will ever listen to Queen. And for all the wrong Freddie may have done, the people around him have forgiven him for it easily with this movie. And they will refuse, to have Freddie's life go down as a cautionary tale or one where people are just going, there could have been more, you could have done better. No. They're just saying, we love Freddie, and this is how we saw him, and this is how we'll always see him. And it's an expression of love. And if art is used in song, in cinema as an expression of love, and we are lucky enough to witness it ourselves, man, that's a good fucking moment in anyone's life. And for anyone who was able to watch it and feel that love, that's what art's about, It's not always about reality, it's about idealizing a life or a world that you either felt or wish you did. So, if a movie can have you experience and feel a little bit of the beauty in life or the potential of that beauty, it deserves nothing but praise and nothing but, accolades.
Yes. What old time or modern band would you like to see have their own movie?
I mean, I'm biased towards. There are a lot. I'm a music guy, so I know I would love to see Blink-182. Metallica's a bit tragic, and I know a lot about Metallica. Foo Fighters, easily.
Yes, please.
Because if you watch the documentary Back and Forth, the Foo Fighters is a great story. A really, really great story. Possibly Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam also had a great documentary that I would like to see in a movie. Nirvana would be incredibly sad, but Nirvana definitely. Zeppelin too would be cool. Zeppelin has some fucked up moments in their history, but Zeppelin has an interesting story too. But yeah, off the top of my head.
If we're speaking of sad, I would like to see is Linkin Park. That'd be interesting.
Fuck.
Right?
Yep.
Fuck.
God damn you, Anzo, you took my answer. God damn it. Fine, I'll go with twice. No, I'm kidding.
I would just
I'm leaving the video.
No, because most of my elementary and high school life was spent listening to Linkin Park.
Same here.
Edwin shared that with me too. I'm like, oh, thanks for introducing me to such a great band.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath would be sick too.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath would be sick.
I would say AC/DC, knowing I kind of want to know how they found like another singer who sounds exactly like.
Actually, no, he doesn't sound like him.
Well,
Like if you listen to Highway to Hell, then you listen to Back in Black, they're not the same singer. Like Bon Scott had a very different voice. Like one that I would actually say is better than I forgot his name, but like Bon Scott was on a different level. Like he was a different guy. Iron Maiden would be cool too, because they also switch singers. Wrathchild, like the guy who sang Wrathchild, all the way to the guy who ended up singing like Number of the Beast, super sick. If I could see a doc on them.
Yeah. At this point, I'm surprised there's no movie about the Beatles yet.
There have been a lot of biopics on the Beatles,
or like movies of, like having a love letter to the Beatles, like Across the Universe, Yesterday.
My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical Romance.
We should have one of My Chemical Romance.
Right? But yeah, there's also that Beatles movie where they didn't exist, and there's just one guy who remembers their songs.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday fucking sucked. I'm sorry.
Alright then.
I'm so pissed.
Not gonna lie, I agree with Seth. No, I don't think it sucked, but I was like,
that ending was bullshit.
It was well, when he found John.
When he gave up.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? Literally everything in this movie told you to keep going, and you were like, I'll stop because girl. Like,
right. I agree. I fucking agree. But anyway, if ever Enzo makes us watch Yesterday, or if you guys want us to do a Yesterday review,
we should do Straight Outta Compton though.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, because Dr. Dre was so good in the Heights.
Yes. What? But yeah. That has been
I love how Enzo was like, yeah, huh?
They're like, oh, was he in the Heights? Right, he was in the Heights.
Dr. Dre is in the Heights. Well, not like the Dr. Dre, but like the guy who played him is in
Who
the
played
Heights.
Dr. Dre? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like, where else have I seen him? Yeah, the Denzel Washington movie, Shakespeare one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that has been our video on
We
Bohemian
did a review on
Rhapsody.
it.
Yeah. Did you like it? Did you not like it? You
Macbeth.
Thank you. You can find us at Facebook at facebook.com/Geeks and Degenerates. We also have a Discord server. Yeah, you just react to trailers and stream video games from time to time. But individually, you can find me at JenDalphus1995 on Instagram and Twitter. Links are down
Alright.
below. How about you guys?
Oh, you can find me at JohnGOM on Instagram, please. My partner.
You can find me on Twitter at SebSoriano835. You can find me on Instagram at SebTheHarmacist. And on most video games, Seb the Harmacist. You can also find me streaming with my friends every day at Facebook.com/Slurrp Media. Slurp is spelled SLURRP Media. Drop by, send the stars, comment, share that shit. We've got all sorts of stuff lined up. We've got a Batman thing lined up this week along with my friends here. And yeah, I do podcasts. I stream Fortnite, and very recently we've been streaming a lot of Dead by Daylight. So if you guys want to stop by and give a shit on our gameplay or laugh at me screaming like a Japanese porn star, please do drop by.
Yeah. You can see him reach red rank while screaming like a Japanese porn star. Let's hope that happens.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
You two have two completely different porn tastes.
Dude, when I get captured, I'm always like, yeah, mati ko to say. Every time.
No, red rank is like
Yamera!
the ultimate like level for DVD.
Well, now I know what happened. What I'll say when I pick you guys up.
Oh, well, on that note, please continue to stay safe, wear masks, social distance, and get vaccinated if you can, Jesus. We're almost done, and also get your booster, for fuck's sake. But yeah, that's all the time we have, folks. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Yeah.